The 20s has been the decade of microbrands. From Jack Mason, Laurier, Monta, and every other hopeful enthusiast trying to enter the Ebosh movement distribution chain, the sheer amount of brands entering the arena cannot be ignored. Love them or hate them, they've made an indelible impact in the community across all levels. Of course, everything has pros and cons, and one of the negative impacts of the microbrand craze are brands with zero heritage selling watches at heritage-inflated prices. Brand owners take advantage of the emotional connections they make with the community and use watch reviewers to help push a product under the facade that they're looking out for our best interests. And I get it, I ain't mad at it. Hustlers gotta hustle, and the game waits for no one. If you don't know how to play it, then I'm sorry to say, but sucks to suck. With all that said, there are still a few good microbrands out there. Ones that offer mainstream quality without the mainstream baggage. And you just have to try them out to find the right ones. It's not a cheap endeavor, but you can protect yourself by making sure there's a return policy, as well as only using recoverable funds in the event the Kool-Aid turns out to be snake oil. So what about the Marloe Watch Company? Is this UK-based brand one of the good ones? The watch in question for today's episode is the Aerodine, and the bottom line up front is, yes, it is one of the good ones. There's a bit of Kool-Aid, but overall, this is a great example of why microbrands are not only a viable option, but even maybe a preferred one in a world oversaturated with options. There are 3 versions, with this one being the Electra. All 3 were inspired by American aviation of the 1930s and serve as a tribute to Amelia Earhart. While Earhart may have been, in actuality, a shit pilot, mainly glamorized by her husband's publishing company, the Aerodyne more than makes up for her subpar flying skills. The Electra specifically is named after the Lockheed Model 10 Electra flown by Earhart on her ill-fated expedition across the globe. As such, the dial showcases a transition from light to dark, which I interpret as the Electra's flight into the eternal twilight. It's a bit hard to capture, but it's done tastefully, being vibrant enough to showcase beautiful colors when you want to see them, and subtle enough to mostly look like a black dial the rest of the time. For me, the biggest selling point was obviously the design, but also the dimensions. When I saw that it was under 10mm thick, I had to get it. My standard for a thin watch is 12mm and under, so under 10 is outstanding. I love a thin watch. For me, case height is the most important dimension. Sure, they're all important, but the height is where you can really control the proportions. I've had 36mm watches that looked ridiculous compared to some 41mm watches, all because the case height wasn't right. Also, a thin watch is just impressive. Considering these are mechanical things that require actual physical space to move different components, space management is a big deal. It all results in a tighter, more professional execution. They're advertising a 38mm diameter, but measuring from 2 to 8, I'm getting 37, which is a rare Goldilocks size. Not too small, not too big. They knocked it out of the park with the dimensions. Inside, there's a 9000 series Miyota movement. Nothing we haven't seen already, but I'm always happy to see it. Miyotas are the superior choice for enthusiasts, and I'll take them any day over a NH35 and even a Solita for that matter. Let's be real, they all do the same thing, and every brand is going to overcharge you for mass-produced bullshit. At least with a Miyota, I'm getting a beautifully thin watch and the kind of finishing that looks a cut above any other run-of-the-mill Ebosh movement. It's always a pleasant surprise to remove a case back and see the decoration. It makes it a little hidden secret that only you know about, and sometimes it's the unseen things that make a watch special. This watch goes for $460, which equates to $500 out the door after taxes. Shipping is included. It's expensive and unfortunately pretty much in line with industry standard prices. I was able to get a discount for you all, so if MWC is in your sights, use Degenerate10 for 10% off your next purchase. They do offer an introductory 10% off already, but if you've used that code, you can still use this one. I don't get any kickbacks or commission. I'm simply using my influence to help drag you all down with me into watch addicted hell. The silver lining is that there are no hidden fees. The price you pay at checkout is the price you pay. Any costs towards customs and duties are included, and you don't have to deal with them later. To be clear, that's not a good reason to buy any watch. I'm just saying it's a good thing if you are planning on getting it. More brands need to conduct business this way. I'm not here to tell you if the price is worth it. All I can say is, based off my experience, I do feel like I'm getting more. The Aerodyne comes with all the standard bells and whistles one would expect, and the overall presentation is uniquely MWC. In a world where everyone is basically sharing the same watch, it's always nice to see something with its own design language. I'm not one to do unboxings, but I want to take a second to show it because you can tell they put some effort into it, which I appreciate. For what I imagine is a fairly small microbrand, the presentation is quite professionally done. This is something I'd expect from a larger brand, but even larger brands don't do it like this. Again, I could care less about the packaging, but if it's good and the watch is good, then it's a net positive to the overall experience, and I'm perfectly fine with that. This watch is definitely growing on me. At first, my thoughts on it were lackluster. The packaging was good, but the watch itself was a departure from what I usually get. I'm very much a connoisseur of the bigger, heavier brushed steel tool watches, and the Aerodyne is not that. Don't get me wrong, with the 100 meter water resistance, loom application, and workhorse movement, it is a tool watch. It's just a more physically reserved piece. As always, you really gotta wear a watch and break it in to truly get the full picture. While it isn't a heavy watch, it isn't a featherweight either. It almost seems deliberate, as if they made multiple prototypes to fine-tune which version would be the best for daily long-term wear. Between the screwed-down caseback, bead-blasted case, and thin case height, the resulting effect is this thing that feels precisely made and purpose-driven. Legibility is also excellent. The numerals are clean, the hands are well-sized, and nothing feels crowded or over-designed. Outside of pure utility, the Aerodyne has its own character that unabashedly leans into the whole aviation theme. The Art Deco numerals represent the Howard Hughes era of the 30s. The hour and minute hands are shaped after winglets. The second-hand counterweight has the same design used on propellers. And the caseback has an engraving of the Model 10 Electra. These are all subtle elements that would otherwise go unnoticed. As semi-hidden Easter eggs for those in the know, it's details like that which make it more than just a watch. The Aerodyne has its own unique character that comes into its own the more you wear it. The Aerodyne is a good watch. They didn't send it to me, I'm not sponsored, and I don't get any compensation for views. But I am constantly searching for shiny new things, and I'm happy with this one. To be fair, $500 opens the door to a lot of competition, but it's a good contender regardless. Most watches these days feel like compromises, and I don't get that feeling here. From the unboxing to the day-to-day, the Aerodyne offers a well-rounded experience with the satisfying feeling of getting your money's worth. In a world flooded with artificial analytics, MWC avoids the hype-driven spotlight and creates watches fueled by their own merits. So when asked the question if they're one of the good ones, I will reiterate that yes, they are one of the good ones. That is all. Stay classy. I sure as hell won't.